The purpose of this video is to provide instructions for entering mental health crisis event data into MOTS. These are considered one-time events. This information should only be entered by agencies that have been approved to provide mental health crisis services. Entering client profile data is required before MOTS will accept a mental health crisis. Instructions for entering data in the client profile section are in another video, which should be viewed before this one. Please review the MOTS reference manual for information on specific fields in the mental health crisis section. This manual and other helpful tools can be found on the MOTS public website. This demonstration will take place in the MOTS training environment. For reference, here is the URL for the MOTS training environment and the email address for MOTS support. Remember, when using MOTS training, enter only false test data. Real clients should only be entered in the live production environment. After logging in, the MOTS homepage will display. From here, this demonstration will illustrate entering crisis event data for a new client with a randomly generated name and set of demographics. Click the Client Entry tab at the top of the screen. First, find the client. This is the client lookup screen. Always search for a client before entering a new record for him or her. This will help prevent the accidental creation of duplicate records for the same client. Confirm that the agency and facility fields contain the correct selections. Enter all or part of the client's last name, or enter all or part of the client's first name, or client ID, or Medicaid ID. In searching for a client, the less information entered or the broader the search criteria, the better. Simple differences in the spelling of a name may make existing clients difficult to find. Click the Search button. The search results are displayed. The client to be entered is not included in these search results, so a new client profile must be entered, which will be demonstrated briefly. For demonstration purposes, this sample client will be shown as also having a behavioral health record, though only the client profile data is required for a mental health crisis. This client now has the necessary records for MOTS to allow the entry of a crisis event. If this client had been entered previously, it may be useful to take some time to update any information on the existing client profile, behavioral health, or addiction detail screens that may have changed since data was last submitted. When any necessary updates have been made, or if the client has no other treatment history to be entered, click the Add Mental Health Crisis Event button. A client profile matching that in the behavioral health record, if any, will display. The fields on this tab must be completed for all clients. Most of these fields are required, but some may be optional, conditionally required, or locked due to not applying to the mental health crisis data elements. One other tab appears at the top of the form labeled Mental Health Crisis. Note that the Client Treatment Status field has already populated with the Crisis Services selection. Confirm that these fields contain the correct information, then click the Mental Health Crisis tab at the top of the page. Fill in the fields as appropriate. Each field on this screen will be described in detail as example data is entered. Select the date of service using the calendar icon or type the date. The date must appear in an 8-digit format. All other fields may appear completely empty until a date is selected. Select the option that best describes the location where the mental health crisis service was rendered. Times are listed in military time format and in hourly increments. Select the hour that is closest to the time at which the service was rendered. Select the option or options that best describe the individuals and/or organizations referring the client for services. Select the option or options that best describe the individuals and/or organizations to whom the client will be or has been referred at the conclusion of treatment. If the client will not receive further services, none may be the most appropriate selection. Select the option that best describes the client's health insurance. Because the list of ICD-10 diagnosis codes is very large, the search criteria in MOTS was separated into 3 categories. The In-Use selection shows any diagnosis codes that were selected in the previous MOTS submissions recorded for this client. The Behavioral selection searches codes specific to behavioral health issues. The All selection searches the entire list of codes. Select one of the three filters. A diagnosis from an existing record can be selected. If other diagnoses are needed, they can be added from a larger list. Begin typing the description or code for the applicable diagnosis. If searching by ICD-10 code, do not enter the decimal point. Multiple diagnoses can be selected. Select the option or options necessary to identify the client as on probation, on parole, under legal guardianship, etc. For each of these 4 categories, select the answer that best identifies the level of danger during this crisis event. If at any point in entering crisis event data it becomes necessary to leave the form without completing it, click the Save Draft button. Draft records are saved but not submitted. They must be completed in order to be accepted by the MOTS database. 7 fields on the client profile screen must be filled in before the record can be saved as draft: agency, facility, last name at birth, date of birth, client ID, and gender, plus date of service on the mental health crisis screen. Do not leave client records in draft status for any longer than absolutely necessary. The MOTS support team may contact MOTS users to offer assistance in getting client records submitted if draft records are left incomplete for an extended period of time. Client records left in draft for more than 90 days will be automatically deleted, and, if they were valid records, will need to be re-entered. When done, click the Submit button and watch for any error messages. If errors are found, look at both tabs, correct the errors, and submit the record. If MOTS does not discover any errors, the Client Entry Portal will return to the Client Summary page. To review an existing mental health crisis form, click any part of the line associated with the desired record. When reviewing a mental health crisis form that has been submitted, all fields will appear in a read-only state, grayed out, and locked against editing. This is because mental health crisis submissions are considered one-time events and do not require further updates. This concludes the training video for the mental health crisis section. To continue learning about entering data into MOTS Client Entry, please review the next video on involuntary service events.